It was meant to be a routine political debate, an ordinary exchange of ideas, but what unfolded that day left the entire room speechless. In a scene that has since dominated headlines and social media feeds, Patriotic Alliance President Gayton McKenzie made a jaw-dropping revelation that visibly unsettled President Cyril Ramaphosa. The dramatic confrontation ignited a nationwide storm of discussion across South Africa, reviving fierce debates on leadership, accountability, and whether Ramaphosa truly holds control over his administration. Many political observers have described the moment as a defining crossroads in South Africa's political landscape, a bold challenge that shattered the careful composure for which the president is known. Before delving deeper into this heated face-off, viewers were reminded to subscribe, like, and enable notifications, as what followed could reshape the narrative surrounding South Africa's leadership. The incident occurred during a major policy forum where President Ramaphosa was expected to address critical issues such as economic recovery, corruption scandals, and the government's ongoing service delivery failures. However, in the midst of his carefully rehearsed speech, McKenzie stood from his seat, fixed his eyes on the president, and asked pointedly, "Mr. President, how are you able to talk about a new dawn when your administration is still shielding the same individuals who plundered this nation?" The moment those words filled the air, silence gripped the entire hall. Cameras immediately focused on Ramaphosa's face, capturing his discomfort for all to see. Even his most trusted advisors exchanged uneasy glances. According to several attendees, the president hesitated for several tense seconds, his expression betraying unease. This was no ordinary question, it was a calculated strike at the heart of his political credibility. For months, critics had accused Ramaphosa of ignoring corruption within his government and protecting powerful ANC figures from prosecution. McKenzie's question voiced the anger of millions of South Africans who feel betrayed by promises of reform that never materialized. Political commentator Tobo Mack summarized it succinctly, stating that McKenzie had spoken aloud what many citizens had been thinking, that Ramaphosa's image as a clean reformer clashed sharply with the ongoing chaos under his leadership. What began as a routine public appearance suddenly turned into a full-scale confrontation that exposed deep divisions among the political elite. Initially, Ramaphosa attempted to deflect. With a forced smile, he shuffled his papers and responded, "We need to collaborate to construct this country, not destruct it with allegations." But McKenzie wasn't done. He pressed on, demanding that the president address specific cases of corruption involving top ANC officials who had faced investigations but received no punishment. The atmosphere grew tense. The audience split between applause for McKenzie's courage and gasps of outrage from ANC loyalists. As the exchange intensified, Ramaphosa reiterated his usual promises of transparency, but the damage was done. The image of a defensive, cornered president quickly became the evening's defining moment. Within minutes, clips of the confrontation flooded social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Hashtags such as #RamaphosaExposed, #Gayton McKenzie, and #Presidential Showdown began trending nationwide. Many South Africans praised McKenzie for giving voice to the frustrations of ordinary citizens. Others, however, dismissed his actions as mere political theater, dramatic but disrespectful. Yet regardless of divided opinions, one fact was undeniable: McKenzie had struck a nerve. Even cautious political analysts agreed that the clash could mark a turning point in public sentiment toward Ramaphosa's leadership. Later reports revealed that McKenzie's move was anything but spontaneous. Insiders disclosed that he had spent weeks preparing, collecting documents and evidence related to ongoing investigations into government mismanagement. Some suggested his timing was deliberate, strategically planned to occur just before the ANC's upcoming policy summit, maximizing pressure on Ramaphosa while bolstering McKenzie's reputation as a fearless truth-teller. The fallout within the president's camp was immediate. Advisors were reportedly caught off guard and scrambled to implement damage control. Rumors also circulated within the ANC that McKenzie's question had hit uncomfortably close to the truth. Analysts describe the incident as the president's toughest public ordeal since the Fela scandal. According to political science lecturer Dr. Thandi Sitho, Ramaphosa is known for his composed and authoritative demeanor, but McKenzie's challenge shattered that image, forcing him to confront criticisms he often avoids or deflects. Some experts believe this confrontation could inspire a more assertive tone among opposition leaders, replacing polite diplomacy with direct accountability. Insiders from Luthuli House later confirmed that several ANC members privately criticized Ramaphosa's handling of the exchange, describing him as unprepared and weak, an impression the ruling party can ill afford amid internal divisions and waning public trust. McKenzie, meanwhile, refused to back down. In a subsequent statement to the media, he declared defiantly, "I didn't embarrass the president. I exposed the truth. South Africans deserve real answers." That remark further deepened the divide in public opinion. Supporters hailed McKenzie as a champion of the people, a man unafraid to challenge power. His detractors, however, accused him of exploiting the moment for political gain. Even so, most conceded that McKenzie had reignited a long-standing debate over integrity and accountability in leadership. This was no mere viral video, it was a pivotal moment for South African democracy. The confrontation sent a powerful message: even the highest-ranking leaders are not beyond public scrutiny. It marked a symbolic shift, from empty rhetoric to an insistence on tangible action. In an era of widespread disillusionment, McKenzie's words captured the raw frustration that no presidential speech could easily erase. As media coverage continued, observers noted the unusual silence from the president's communications team. No explanations or official statements were issued to clarify his reaction, a silence that many experts interpreted as discomfort. Behind closed doors, advisors reportedly urged Ramaphosa to adopt a firmer and more assertive tone in future appearances to avoid perceptions of weakness. Yet others cautioned that an overly defensive stance could play directly into McKenzie's strategy, reinforcing his image as the bold challenger who unsettled the president. Regardless of how the presidency chooses to respond, the confrontation has already left a lasting impact. McKenzie's words resonated deeply with citizens weary of corruption, unemployment, and political stagnation. His challenge transformed what should have been a ceremonial policy discussion into a national reckoning, compelling the president to face allegations he often avoids behind closed doors. It exposed the fragility of public confidence and the mounting frustration of a populace tired of waiting for meaningful change. What happened that day went far beyond a clash of egos. It was an encounter between power and truth, between polished rhetoric and unfiltered honesty. Whether motivated by conviction or political calculation, McKenzie's call for accountability struck with undeniable force. South Africans witnessed something rare, a leader being held publicly accountable, stripped of political niceties. That moment, replayed endlessly online, may remain etched in the nation's collective memory far longer than any official policy announcement. So where does this leave South Africa's leadership? The incident not only raised questions about Ramaphosa's control over his government but also sparked reflection on the future of political discourse in the country. Will other leaders follow McKenzie's example and confront authority head-on? Or will those in power tighten their defenses to prevent another public challenge? One thing is certain, the boundary between authority and accountability has never been thinner. Do you believe President Ramaphosa handled the confrontation appropriately, or did McKenzie expose deeper cracks within his leadership? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications for ongoing coverage of South Africa's evolving political landscape. Because today, in this nation, the truth no longer whispers, it stands tall, speaks boldly, and faces power without fear.